Chapter 8, The Office of the DNI. As they approached the secure elevator that would take them directly to his office, Nedic continued his conversation with Hathaway. His voice was low, purposeful. "Stephen, make sure we're locked in for that briefing with the president. I want everything laid out for him, no surprises. We need to make sure we control the narrative." "Understood, sir," Hathaway replied, his tone matching Nedic's. He tapped a quick note into his tablet, his fingers moving with the precision of someone accustomed to juggling 100 tasks at once. The elevator doors slid open, revealing the polished, mirrored interior. Inside, they were greeted by Lydia Franklin, Nedic's chief of staff. A woman of sharp intellect and unflinching efficiency, Lydia greeted them with her usual professionalism. "Good morning, sir." "Good morning, Stephen," she said brightly, though her eyes betrayed the serious day ahead. "I've already checked today's schedule. It looks like you have a very busy day." Her tone was cheerful, but there was an edge to it. She knew that today could shift the balance of power in ways none of them could fully predict. "Morning to you, Lydia," Nedic responded, stepping inside the elevator as the doors closed behind them. "Stephen already gave me the rundown on the way here." His tone shifted slightly, becoming more focused. "Make a note that I'll need a private meeting with the president sometime this week. Whenever he has the time. It's imperative." "Noted, sir," Lydia said, her mind already calculating the logistics. She handed off Nedic's coat to one of the staff members waiting as the elevator began its smooth ascent toward the DNI's top-floor office suites. When they arrived, the staff were already buzzing with activity, preparing for the day ahead. Nedic moved quickly, slipping into the comfortable familiarity of his office as Lydia and Hathaway took their seats opposite him at the large mahogany desk. The morning light filtered through the high windows, casting soft shadows across the room, though Nedic barely registered it. His focus was entirely on the briefing ahead. "All right, Lydia," Nedic began, taking his seat with a measured exhale. "Bring me up to speed, just like Stephen did. What's on the schedule today?" Lydia leaned forward, her expression more serious now. "Senator Cross, Senator Bowler, Senator Hamilton, along with the Senate Majority Leader, will all be in that meeting later today, sir. The Senate Minority Leader and 2 members of the opposition will also be there." Nedic nodded, already piecing together the political dynamics in his head. The balance of power in the Senate was always shifting, and today's meeting would be critical. The approval for Dr. Pullman's project was hanging by a thread, and any misstep could set off a chain reaction that would jeopardize everything. "Mr. Director," Stephen Hathaway chimed in, his voice steady but carrying a note of caution, "the Senate Majority Leader may bring up your relationship with Dr. Pullman as a reason to pull her off the project. He's been angling for an excuse, and a conflict of interest could be the perfect wedge." Nedic's face darkened slightly, his gaze drifting momentarily toward the large picture frame window overlooking D.C. He knew exactly what Hathaway was talking about. His long-standing connection to Pullman was both a strength and a potential liability. In the political arena, even the perception of conflict could be twisted and weaponized. And the majority leader, ambitious, calculating, wouldn't hesitate to use it. "I see where you're coming from," Nedic said, his voice cold with calculation. "He could argue that I've been using my influence with the president indirectly to keep her on the project." He shook his head slightly, eyes narrowing in thought. "But I won't let that happen." Lydia leaned in, her voice quieter, more serious. "I agree with Stephen's assessment, sir. The majority leader's been laying the groundwork for this for a while. He's shrewd, and he'll use anything to derail the program if he thinks it benefits him politically." She hesitated, then added, "It's good we're meeting today. We need to get ahead of this if we're going to control the direction of the program." Nedic's fingers drummed lightly on the desk, his mind spinning through the possibilities. He didn't trust the majority leader. The man was dangerous, not in the way an enemy was dangerous, but in the way a viper lurking in the grass was dangerous. Silent. Deadly. Always waiting for the perfect moment to strike. "Today, you say?" Nedic raised an eyebrow, his voice edged with surprise. That fast, Lydia? Yes, sir, Lydia confirmed, her expression unwavering. And it's concrete. I managed to arrange it last minute with the president's chief of staff. Today's the only day the president has available. We have to make it happen. The room fell into a brief silence, the weight of the situation pressing down on them. Nedic's mind worked furiously, considering every angle, every possible move. The timeline for Dr. Pullman's project was accelerating faster than they had anticipated, and the window of opportunity to solidify the program's future was rapidly shrinking. For a moment, Nedic allowed himself to wonder what the president's position on the nanite technology truly was. The man could be unpredictable at times, swayed by political pressures and optics. And then there was the majority leader. What twisted logic might he use to convince the president to kill the project or, worse, delay it indefinitely? Nedic's eyes flicked back to the window, the city below a sea of power, secrets, and unseen forces. He had worked too hard, maneuvered too carefully, to let everything unravel now. Dr. Pullman's technology was more than just a scientific breakthrough, it was a geopolitical game-changer, something that could redefine warfare, healthcare, and the balance of global power. And he knew one thing for certain, he wasn't going to let the project slip from his control. All right, Nedic said, his voice breaking the silence. We move forward with the meeting. We control the narrative. And we make sure the president understands exactly what's at stake. His mind was set. The day ahead would be critical, and there was no room for hesitation. Chapter ended.